it says here that Rose, there's no bio, but Rose, you don't need a bio. Rose is a champion. She is someone who I think is definitely the glue of the partnership and does some amazing work. And I'm privileged as Deputy Chair of the partnership to work with Rose and learn from her because she's just a dead set legend. So welcome down. Come on, Rose. You can do it.
Thanks, Brian. Dead set legend. Might need some glasses in a minute. I've been around too long. Hello, everyone. Great to see all your faces here. This is very exciting. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we're meeting on today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to start with a very, very big thank you. There's a friend of mine who runs these things all the time says we'll start with a thank you rather than finishing at the end. And that is to Louise Sheehan. Her superpower is organising forums, and Aria, who you can't see because she's behind this little banner here, is absolutely the wizard. So these two staff, I went on leave for a couple of weeks and came back and this forum had been pulled together. I'd also like to thank all my colleagues because in organising this one quick phone call, could you come along and talk about what you do? And I had overwhelming support to do this. So you know who you are and thank you so much for the goodwill. A little bit about me. So the Principal Strategic Advisor role is a role that's been around since about 2006 and the government put these roles into place in every area across the state to try and bring, in those days, to try and help integrate the family violence system. Then we had the Royal Commission. And since the Royal Commission has gone, these roles have been on steroids, I think, because there's been so much work to do in the reforms. So we work with family violence partnerships, or the other way they're talked about are regional integration committees, or RICs, you might hear around the place, but there's one of these committees or partnerships in every part of Victoria. And our role is to, as I say, try and make sense of the reforms and bring people together to work towards integration. So how do we do that? Can I have that next slide? Okay. Brian said put your phones on silent. What I'd like you to do is actually get your phones out and go to menti.com, www. And then enter that code. There's a little pink band at the top of that screen that you'll see, and you put that code in. Some of you might have done this before. It's just a bit of fun. When you get there, you'll see that. So the code, put in 43789070. I'm sorry if you haven't got a phone. And that will invite you to just enter a word that tells me how you're feeling right now. A bit concerned about how big that tired word is. Okay. Lots of people excited and curious, that's good. Intrigued. Thanks. Thanks. Can we go to that next slide of mine, thanks? Okay. I'm just going to give you a little quick look at what family violence partnerships are about. This is called the collaboration spectrum. You will notice that in the Bayside Peninsula Integrated Family Violence Partnership title is the word integration. That's a spectrum. So this is what the partnership is trying to do, is to reach that far right-hand side, that box that says integration. Pretty hard in our current environment to get a fully integrated programs planning and funding, because we've got a very service-rich area, and I think if you look at the orange door, there's something like 12 organisations contributing staff to that service. So to fully integrate those services is a real challenge. I think most of our work sits, or a lot of our work sits in a collaborate, and that's what we're really aiming for. So that's around long-term interaction based on shared mission goals, decision making and resources, and that's what the partnership is trying to do. And today is an example of how we do that, because every single organisation in the partnership has contributed to assisting us with today. So I think I just wanted to show you what that looks like and hope that we're not down in the compete end and that we're working towards collaboration. And I know that Bayside Peninsula area has a reputation across Victoria for being leading in this space. So I'm hoping that partners all feel very proud of themselves for that, because whenever we're spoken about as an area where this is working really well, but we can always improve it. I just had a couple of other slides I wanted to show you. This is what our service system would look like without collaboration. It's actually my knitting. So everything everywhere, nothing really connecting, making a horrible mess. And this is what it can look like if we collaborate. So if we get our knitting right, look what we can create. That's what I'm making for my new granddaughter, who's due in 2 weeks. So just a couple of other final messages I wanted for you. In 2 of the big pieces of work that the Family Violence Partnership does, one is MARAM Collaborative Practice Training, and most of you should have heard of MARAM by now. It's been around for a few years. This is what we need to be working towards, collaborative practice. So you will have done some of the training to learn how to use MARAM. The collaborative practice training is provided by the partnership. You've all got a little brochure on your chair, and this collaborative practice, I think, is the most important part of the MARAM training. It's a full day training. If you haven't done it, please go to the website, find a session and come along, because it puts it all together and tells you how you use it and how you do secondary consults and how you work with all your colleagues and all those services out there to make sure that your client's at the centre of it and that we keep women safe and hold perpetrators accountable. So big plug for the MARAM Collaborative Practice Training. As I say, you've got some information on your chair about that. And the other one, the big collaborative piece that we've been doing in the last 12 months, is our website, South Safe. And again, you'll see that website address everywhere. This is a website that's been developed specifically for people working in the Bayside Peninsula area around family violence. There are resources, there are training, there's information about services. There'll shortly be a whole lot of information about who you're going to call if you need a secondary consult on something. It's a resource for you, and it's a two-way street. So we put stuff up there that we find everywhere, but we also look forward to getting some feedback from you about what's good, what doesn't make sense, what else you'd like to see there. There's an email address, just let us know. Hey, I saw this really good training, you might be interested in putting it on South Safe. Or here's a resource I use every day, other people might be interested, or did you know, whatever. So it's a resource for you as workers in the sector. It's not designed as a public-facing website. It's a resource for you to build and make sure that we're all working together. I, 6 or 7 years ago, came from health and thought, I'll know all about human services because I've worked in the Department of Health and Human Services for 30 years. I had absolutely no idea what anyone was talking about when I got to Human Services, because it was a different language, there were different acronyms, and I made it my mission to make sure that there was a place you could go to and find out that information. So that's all I wanted to say this morning. And I wanted to now hand over to my colleague, Ilsa Evans, who's going to introduce herself, because we've both been mucking up each other's titles and jobs all morning. But Ilsa's from Chisholm, and without Chisholm we wouldn't be in this beautiful space today.